Hi, thanks for joining us for another brief Rhetorica interview at the desk with a communication expert. Today's expert is Michelle Hutton. Michelle is one of Australia's leading brand communication experts, runs Edelman here in Australia, also sits on that firm's global executive committee, and about half a dozen other committees, Michelle, New South Wales Advisory Council for Committee of Economic Development in Australia, the Advisory Board of the Australian Centre for Public Communications, you're a fellow in the PRIA, you're a governor at AmCham. I'm puffed just looking through your list of achievements, about 25 years in the industry. So thanks, I know you're very busy, thanks for making the time to be here today.
You're very welcome.
Maybe we can just kick off talking about the state of public relations in 2011 and maybe into 2012, if that's not too much to ask in one question.
No, not at all, not at all. Look, I think overall it's been a great year for public relations and communications. If I think about our business globally, it's been one of many surprises. You have businesses in the US, for example, who have faced amazing uncertainty and as a result of that have called upon expert communicators to help them navigate this amazingly complex world that they now find themselves in. You see obviously various markets across Europe still with their incredibly volatile economic and political landscapes changing almost daily. And again, we've seen organisations across a whole array of different industries taking on communications like never before. And then, of course, in emerging markets across Asia, the BRICS markets, we've seen amazing growth where organisations either entering those markets or those currently operating there have seen the need for more transparent and regular communications.
What are the main challenges you're having to deal with and help them with, and how successful can you be in this environment where there are very real structural and other challenges?
I think there's a few very real challenges. One we've seen emerge around the rise of digital. There seems to be still a lot of debate within large organisations as to who owns social, who owns online. And there's been quite a lot of conflict, I think, amongst marketing and communications experts in organisations in Australia, and we see that play out in many markets around the world. I think there's also a real issue and a real challenge around understanding trust. And in this complex and probably uncertain marketplace, what are the key drivers of trust? And what's the difference between reputation and trust? And how can chief communications officers and chief marketing officers play a role in building trust within brands and organisations?
Do you think that conflict is resulting in better integration? That's a word, I don't really like that word. It's been around a long time, and I think a lot of the time it's just been a nice abstract concept. But do you think that's working better, or is it pretty well conflict?
I'd really like to think that it is working better, but I'm not certain that it is.
Yeah.
I think there are some organisations that are certainly doing it better than others. And I think those that are doing it better now have this approach of social business as opposed to social media and community management. They really are seeing social media having an integrated business role within their organisation. And when organisations view social in that way, they seem to be able to bring together the very disparate parts of the organisation who play very important roles. Customer service, for example, marketing, obviously, communications, and even the sales function, and employee communication. So when everything, an internal and HR expert, so when everyone comes to the table and views it as a business tool, then it seems to play out in an integrated sense.
So it doesn't need to sit under one area or one umbrella, marketing or wherever?
Right, exactly. And I think where you see that infight for ownership, that's typically where you see some of the conflict play out.
Okay. But back on trust, you highlighted that there's a difference between reputation and trust. Does reputation lead into trust, or is it something different?
I think the two are definitely interrelated. There's no doubt about that. We see very much reputation being almost a retrospective view in terms of what stakeholders have, how stakeholders have judged a company or brand's performance over different drivers of reputation, whereas trust seems to take into consideration that reputation view, and it's almost how you expect the organisation or expect the brand to perform against those indicators moving forward. So, in other words, a particular stakeholder might see a particular company as having a very good reputation, but they might not trust that same organisation moving forward because of different political issues, social issues, or perhaps business issues that that particular company faces.